Chapter 5. Chapter 5. I sat there at my kitchen table with a hot cup of coffee, going over everything that I was told. Can it be real? Are they joking about all this stuff? Drinking my coffee, I still couldn't wrap my head around the fact that these three guys I have known for 5 years are werewolves. I decided that I needed proof for me to believe what I was going to be told was real. There was no other way around it. I got up from the table, took a shower, put on my sweatpants, big baggy shirt, and climbed into bed. A good night's sleep would do me wonders, I hoped. Instead of my usual alarm going off and waking me up, I woke up to a repeatedly loud banging on my front door. I stumbled out of bed and opened the door to meet face to face with Vincent. I see I just woke you up. I'm sorry, my dear. May I come in? He asked as he stepped into my house anyway. Excuse me, you just can't walk in here as you are asking, I said. I shut the door since it was only 10 degrees out and that cold was getting into my house. I know, but before any of the others come over, I wanted us to talk privately, he said, standing there looking down at me. What is with all of these guys around here being so damn tall? That's asking. Ooh, not thinking. What is with all the guys around here being so damn tall? I asked as I had to crane my neck to look up at him. Vincent just chuckled as he stood there. Okay, so he wasn't going to comment on that one. Would you like some coffee? I asked as I made my way to the kitchen. Would love some, he said as he followed me into the kitchen. He sat down as I went about my normal routine with making the coffee, and I took a shower. I didn't care if I was being rude or not. I needed a moment to wake up before he dropped more stuff onto my lap. But it was just a quick shower. I put on my black leggings and a t-shirt. My hair was wrapped in a towel. This was as good as it was going to get, being woken up 3 hours before my normal time to get up. Vincent was sitting there with a cup of coffee, and I noticed he had poured me one as well. Thank you, I said as I sat down. You're welcome. I figured it's the least I could do with waking you up before it was time, he said, sipping on his coffee. So, what is really going on, Vincent? I asked as I sipped on my coffee. The reason why we're having this connection when we lock eyes. I believe that somewhere deep inside of you, one of your ancestors might have had the gene that carries the werewolf DNA. You're telling me that one of my great-grandparents might have been one of you, and something deep inside is waking up when I look at you? I asked in disbelief. I know it sounds crazy. I understand that, Lucy. But how else can you explain last night? The pull between us and not being able to look away from each other, he asked. I sat back and sipped on my coffee, thinking about what he had just said. Maybe that part is true, or maybe it's not. I really don't know, since I'm an only child and the rest of my family has passed on. But if I'm to believe all of this, I want proof that what you're telling me is real and not a bad joke that you're all playing on me, I said, looking directly at him. I had a feeling you would be asking, which is smart. I would be questioning everything as well, he said, and stood up. I watched as he took off his clothes, and this man was very muscular. Within a blink of an eye, there stood a creature that was close to 7 feet tall, standing on 2 legs. His whole body was covered in fur. His hands had sharp claws where their fingernails would be. His face was of a wolf, but his eyes, that were gold in color, seemed to shimmer and had a soft glow about them. "Can I touch you?" I asked, not knowing if he could understand me. He nodded his head. I slowly stood up and ever so carefully walked over to where he was standing. My hand slowly reached out and touched his arm. His eyes were intently watching every move I made. His fur was soft and with a touch of coarseness about it. I felt so insignificant compared to him. I was small anyway, but standing next to him made me feel as if I was only as tiny as a mouse standing next to a lion. My hand was roaming his arm, and I found myself standing in front of him with both my hands on his chest, taking it all in. The amount of excitement was coursing through my body at this moment. Something from my fairy tales was actually standing right in front of me. I looked up into his eyes. "You are amazing and beautiful," I whispered. Just then he bent over and put his nose into the crook of my neck and inhaled. A slight rumble came from his chest. I froze at that moment, not sure what that meant. In an instant, Vincent was standing before me. He took one hand and placed it under my chin and gently lifted my face up to look at him. "Somewhere deep in your DNA is an exceedingly small amount of werewolf, my dear. My wolf senses it. It is also why you show no fear. Something deep inside of you stirred when my wolf was before you," he whispered. I could not look away. His eyes were calling to me to be with him. "Why is there a small voice inside my head saying to be with you, to go to you?" I asked ever so softly. "That is your wolf's side. She has awoken, but not strong enough to be a presence in your life. Right now, she is more of a mere thought." Before I could respond, Vincent claimed my lips with his. Soft and tender at first, I was unsure of how to respond. But my body had a mind of its own. As I molded myself to him, my arms went around his waist, wanting to feel his skin against mine. A growl arose from his chest as our kiss deepened, his hands roaming my back, pulling me closer to him. I let out a soft moan against his lips. We broke apart, and he rested his forehead against mine. In time, I want to spend time with you, for us to get to know each other, my sweet dear woman," he said against my lips. I let out a soft sigh, but agreed.